Hello and welcome to Warframe. My name's Todd, also known as Mech, and this is, of course, Warframe. So last time we left off, what did we do? We completed a couple things to do with our Kubro and kind of showed them off and then immediately put them into stasis. We also did a couple missions on our way towards the Void, which will allow us to farm some stuff. We ended off last time thinking about clans and how they work. And in the meantime, since our last episode, there has been an update, which the main updates, of course, will always be placed here. Not only was the previous episode released with the Mask of the Revenant, but we also now have a new update, the Pyrrhus project, or Pyrrhus project, however you want to say that. And there's also the Harmony ribbon update. So let's go into our inbox here real quick. So I will play this for you with this, so you can read all this effectively. You will have this message same when you log in. It will pop up as you'd expect. You can pause it to read all that, and I will play the transmission real quick.
When the Grineer discovered we weren't like the other clones, they tried to destroy us. But you, Tenno, you took us into your relays, helped us recover, helped us build Steel Meridian. We want to give back. We've run the numbers, and we can spearhead the reconstruction of the destroyed relays. But this project is bigger than us, and we need all the help we can get. What do you say, Tenno? You up for this?
So that was Cressatal, the leader of Steel Meridian. She'll talk to you if you go into the Steel Meridian's faction section. She's given us an event, effectively, which will help us rebuild one of the relays. And then the next message is showing our support. The Lotus sent us a cool little ribbon, which I will show that off because I want to support that cause. That cause, of course, the orange ribbon symbolizes for leukemia research and all of that. So we're just going to go into our attachments, chest attachments, and there it is. If you had a chested armor previously, this will be put in its place, and there we go. We'll just keep that on for as long as the event is going on. I don't think it lasts forever.
If I may say,
we'll keep that on.
Your chosen Warframe suits you.
So the big thing with Cressatal and the Pyrrhus project is you can donate resources to help rebuild a relay. There was an event previously, I believe I've talked about them, the Fomorian events, which destroys relays. If you come into your codex or your navigation panel here, you can see that if you would like to help out, you can collect essence from one of these 4 planets. So any mission on one of these 4 planets will help you get the resources needed to contribute to the relay. I don't think we're going to really be able to do that, though. We'll load into the construction site so you can see what you need. Typically, getting the parts for this entails fighting some enemies that we haven't seen yet, known as the Groostrag 3. They're very similar to the Stalker. I'm going to skip these cutscenes. They're pretty much the same ones that you get with the normal relay. But then you come into this cool relay and it's all under construction. You've got like yellow tarps all over the place. Some people standing around. And here's the main thing, the panel which will allow you to donate stuff. So you talk to Cressatal here.
What do you have for our builders, Tenno?
The big thing to help rebuild this relay is you need 5 strut components, which is the item that we just got the blueprint from Cressatal for. We need to complete a Samaris synthesis task. We need to contribute 30 Pyrrhus essence and defeat the Groostrag 3 times. So that's a lot to ask for us in one episode. By the time this episode ends and this week is over, I don't think we'll actually be able to really complete this event, and I don't think this event goes on for long enough for us to really do it. So I'm going to skip it. On my main account, I've completed the event overall. It didn't take as long as I was thinking it would, but then again, I've got like high-level gear, which is much better than our lower-level gear which you currently got. Because as I stated, the Groostrag 3 are similar to the Stalker, and I'd almost say that they're probably a little bit tougher. So if you wanted to want to do this event, there's a very cool prize, which at the end of the series, when I'm finished with the star map and everything, I will go over onto my main account and show off all the cool weapons you can get in events and things like that. Show off the stuff I wasn't really able to on this account because we didn't have enough time to really do it. But the big thing for us is we really just want to progress the story so we can get better gear and move forward. In talking about that, though, last time we left off with clans, which we did want to create one, and I managed to find a name. I just called it the Adventurers Guild, just because I needed a name, and it works just fine for me. We've got it all set up effectively. This is the panel and how it looks. Effectively, once I put the name and hit enter, this is the panel it showed me. This is what you get. So you've got your clan statistics, which shows off all the different parts of the clan. You would see a lot more people here, I believe, if there were more people in the clan. Shows off our equipment and the research that we've completed.
Not a number.
And kind of just our
Did
rank.
the operator enjoy this witticism?
As people contribute and stuff, we will get more stuff to do with our rank. We currently have none, so that'll have to do. We can go clan management, we can invite people, we can edit the hierarchies. This is effectively just the basic start out for how things go. You can kind of see that there's lots of different controls that you've got. We as the Warlord have access to everything, though. And there's also entering the clan dojo. But we don't have a key yet, so we'll have to craft that. So to craft our dojo key, we go over here to the foundry, and it should be, I believe, under miscellaneous, or is it keys? No, it's keys. Okay, so here's our clan key. If we want to access our dojo, we have to craft one of these. It takes 12 hours to build, so we'll have that for next time. No matter what, whenever you join the guild, or a clan, that is not a guild, but whenever you join a clan, you have to craft the clan key to get into it. It takes 12 hours, so clan hopping is not suggested. It's highly suggested instead that you just focus on your main clan. That's what you're doing. But as we're building that, hopefully we'll get that all built and then be able to enter our dojo and play around with that. Let me see. Is Phobos? I don't think Phobos is one of the planets we can collect essence on. It is not. I could show off a little bit of that, but we really do need to get to the Void and show off the Void. How about we do one mission to show off collecting essence, and we'll do the final missions that we need to kind of progress into the Void. So let's start with just something simple. We're going to go on solo because we don't really want to mess up some people. So we'll do a capture on Earth so we can show this off. So when doing a mission on a planet where you're able to collect essence, there's two types of resources you'll be collecting. You'll be collecting, I think it's like Purus essence and a different type of essence that you'll need for struts. So you'll need both of those components to help contribute to building the relay. We're going to skip that. Skip that as well. Alright.
You are here on a capture mission. You must find, capture, and extract our target.
So our main goal, of course, is to just complete the mission as is, but because we're trying to collect essence, I would highly suggest you kill as many targets as you can, because they do have a chance, I believe, of dropping the other type of essence we need. One of the two types of essence we need, that is. And of course, don't fail your mission trying to collect that essence. We want to focus on getting our target. Okay, we got that guy. Fantastic. Alright. So now we've got our target, we can kind of leisurely make our way towards the exit while killing everybody.
Your part is done here, Tenno.
The two types of mission I would suggest for doing for this would be either exterminates or captures, just because they tend to be loaded with enemies, which have a higher chance of giving you more of the essence that you need to rebuild stuff. But we're also going to encounter our person of interest eventually as we're progressing through this mission. Let's just jump over those. Alright. Burn some people up with our heat sword and go through. So eventually we should encounter somebody that Cressital will tell us about. Eventually. There it is.
Your near chatter indicates a unit with supplies crucial to our effort is near your location. You know what to do.
So this unit acts exactly like a capture target, however the change to that being is that this target can be pretty much anything. The Pyrus Essence Carrier. And there's also a time limit for how long you have before they destabilize.
No betrayal burns deeper than yours. No Grenier is more deserving of hate. You will not survive this insolence.
Sargus Rock. Of course. You can't let the rank-and-file Grenier see Steel Meridian succeed. What happens to your mighty army when the grunts learn there's another way?
And so that was a character we've never seen before. That was Sargus Ruck, who is a boss that you can fight on, I think it's Saturn? But he's not super terrifying. We probably won't encounter him till we reach him on Saturn. Oh, did get a new mod. So two types of essence that you can collect are Pyrus Essence and Trembra Essence. Trembura Essence? However you say that. The Pyrus Essence you donate just as it is to the cause. I believe you need 30 of it to be able to donate, and a Trembra Essence you use to create relay struts. So the part that the blueprint that Cressitol gave you is right here, the relay strut components. Effectively, if you do those missions enough time, get enough of those to build 5 of those, then you can donate those to the cause. It would take a good amount of time for us to be able to complete all of that and help reconstruct the relay. There is a very good reward if you do that, so if you have the time, I would highly suggest you try it out just to do it. So you need 30 of the Pyrus, of course, the 5 relay struts. You need to complete a Samaris daily synthesis task, which I have shown off in the past. You can practice for those at any relay by talking to Samaris, and you can get your target from him. So you get your target, you go to any area that might have your target, and hopefully he'll tell you that the target's in range. There's also some useful lists out there for synthesis targets and where you might find them by just Googling Warframe synthesis target. There's a bunch of them. I believe the wiki also has a link to a list. And of course defeating the Groostrag 3. Now the Groostrag 3 are tough as nails.
The system needs you. Will you begin another mission?
So if you're not ready for a very tough enemy, I probably would not recommend that you try and complete that, just because those 3 tend to be as tough as a boss, and they can spawn fairly randomly. I believe for this event they particularly spawn for you.
Keep the enemy busy while a fellow
So
tunnel operative
as long as
makes
you
the
keep
shed
doing
for
missions to
supplies.
get essence, I believe they
Ready?
will just spawn
Trigger
over
the
time.
alarm.
But at the same time, it does come down to the fact that it's very difficult to fight them at our point when we don't have very good gear and our stuff isn't very modded or upgraded. But who knows?
They have just shut down all systems.
For now,
I'm sending life support capsules your way.
we're going to focus on getting into the
I've
void,
delivered a life support
because the
capsule
void
to
will
the
be where
area.
we find some of the
Activating
components
it
that we
will buy
need.
you more time.
And we're also going to do, because of that, we're also going to have to do this survival mission to get there.
Look for personal life support modules dropped by fallen enemies.
If we manage to get our hands on the components to build a Rhino at some point, it would be much easier to handle the Groostrag 3, as Rhino tends to be just a very easy frame to handle tough opponents with, as his main characteristic is extreme survivability. And doing things like exterminates and other missions of the sort are very easy on him. And we're just going to have to murder our way through all these guys so we don't die. I believe I've made comments about survival in the past being quite difficult, and if it's your first time doing it, it is somewhat more difficult than some of the other mission types, just because you don't have the ability to kill very quickly.
Life support incoming.
And survival really depends on how fast you're able to destroy your enemies. The faster you're able to do it, the better, because you get the more time to survive the faster you kill them. Though it is entirely possible to survive a very good amount into a survival mission without killing even a single enemy by just using the life support containers.
I've delivered another life support
And since we're only going for about 5 minutes at most with this mission here, it shouldn't be very difficult for us. If that Pyrus event is still going on next week, we may have enough time to actually get some parts of it complete. I might even do another mission in this part just to show it off a little bit. I really wish it was here on Phobos, because then it would be very easy for us to do more missions for it. But it is not, sadly. We could actually do some missions with Ceres, since we do need to unlock the boss for Ceres. I'll save that for after we get into the Void, though. So once we get into the Void, we'll have access to 2 very important resources for building weapons and warframes. Control modules and argon crystals. Which, if we manage to get an argon crystal, that'd be really nice, but I don't think we'll have enough time for that.
Life support on the way.
Alright. Doing good so far. Thanks to Taxon, we're not really dying, and we're able to keep ourselves going. Shouldn't be too much longer here. Let me think. Is there anything else I needed to talk about? We will be able to complete the Mask of the Revenant stuff, which I wasn't really able to show off this time around. Much later in the game. That is an event that isn't going away. I believe the Pyrus event will be going away over time, though. I don't think we're going to have a chance to show it off really effectively at the moment. But the Mask of the Revenant will not. The Mask of the Revenant is staying. So don't worry if you're worried about getting Mask of your Revenant Warframe. You don't really have to worry about that. He's sticking around. It's just the reward that you would get from the Pyrus event may not be sticking around, so if you're one of those people who likes to be very completionist about things, it's definitely worth it to do it as soon as you're able to. And I'm sure if you're actually watching this series in order as they're coming out, then you've probably progressed a lot farther than I have throughout the series. It's much easier to get a lot more done if you have more time. Even just a little bit more time per week can get you much farther in Warframe than I've been able to get. Doing these episodes, it of course kind of slows you down because you're only able to do so much for each week, and then it really kind of cuts into things. And I also have to think about my everyday life. I can't spend forever making videos, as much as I wish I could.
Additional life support has arrived.
Alright. We are almost there, only about 20 seconds left. Alright. Let me see. Oh, I believe I made a comment of the Mask of the Revenant and what it requires to be able to complete that mission. But I think you really have to complete most of the quests in the entire game to be able to complete the Mask of the Revenant.
To a successful start.
I went back and I looked into what you have to do in that quest, and I believe that there's probably a quest near the very end of the game, or like kind of the story as it is so far, that you have to do to be able to complete that quest. Which is kind of annoying, but there's not much you can do about that. You just kind of have to go with the flow of Warframe. Alright. So now we have unlocked the Void. I would very much so like to unlock some more relays and progress our way through it, but that requires dealing with some bosses and some other stuff. Let's take a look. How much time have I spent so far? A good amount of time. Could do Monolith to get Iliad and the Sergeant. We will have to do some of the Void missions here to get some resources. Really don't need much in the Void, just need a control module so we can actually build a Rhino. How many do we need? I don't think it's only like 1 or 2, isn't it? So we only need, for the systems, we only need 1 control module. Like, that's nothing. We could probably get that in just one mission. We could also go through Mars, and I think Mars actually is one of the planets. No, it's not. I thought Mars was one of the planets where we could collect essence, but it doesn't look like it is. But we do need to do War, which is like Krill. Let's do one mission in the Void real quick, and then we will come back and try and deal with some bosses, so we can unlock the relay for next time. Because the faster we're able to progress through this, the more ready we'll be for everything.
Diagnostic regressions. All systems nominal.
And more events in the future. So the quicker you're able to progress through the star map, the quicker you're able to get better mods, better gear, and just kind of overall progress faster. So
You aren't the first ones here. I'm detecting multiple enemy signatures, and they're all under the control of the tower. Eliminate them.
So we are back in the Void, and there's lots of different mods you can get in the Void. We've already gotten our first control module, so we're already done with that objective. If you had thought that control modules might be rare, I will tell you now that they are definitely not. So it's definitely worthwhile to just wait to get to the Void before you worry about getting more control modules or anything of that nature.
The tower's neural sentry has turned these soldiers into mindless attack drones. You need to take them out.
Effectively, as the Lotus said, these enemies are now just mindless zombies, which are being controlled by the defense system of this Oregon Tower, as she put it. I don't really think it's much of a tower. When you load in, it doesn't really look like a tower, but who knows? Maybe the definition of tower changes in the future. The main thing being, though, is you just gotta murder your way through it. We've collected our resource that we kind of need. We could do more in the Void here, collect some Argon crystals, but we really don't need them. We just kind of need to powerhouse our way through some of these enemies. And deal with that, and deal with this guy. He was shooting the crud out of me. There are lots of mods, like I said previously, and there's lots of cool rooms in these Void Towers that you can explore and check out. And there's some challenges where you can get some special resources and things. I don't know if we're going to run across one of those, but we'll see. We go up here. Oh, that's a lot of explosive barrels. I don't know why those were right there, but they are. We'll open that door. So there's lots of containers in the void areas, I suppose you could say. And there's lots of secret areas as well. So if you're ever in a void or like spacey looking area like this, there's lots of secret areas you can go, and I would highly recommend that you check them out at least once or twice, just because it helps in the future if you're trying to find caches or anything of that nature. Well, but do be aware there are lots of defenses in these Oregon Towers like this, in the form of death beams and things that are just overall very annoying. Boy, it's going to take us a while to get through all these guys if we keep dawdling. So we should probably get through it. I think I've talked about those death orbs before. Kind of annoying, but not super threatening, because they don't really move. You shoot them enough, they'll blow up. Let's just murder all the dudes. So we're kind of getting to the point where our weapons aren't very quick at killing enemies, just because they aren't doing a whole lot of damage, which is somewhat unfortunate, but we'll power on through. Do have to deal with everybody as it goes. Pulling out my Lado here, which we bought last time. I did decide what kind of secondary we are going to focus on after looking through most of the weapons. And I think we're going to focus on a good old pistol called the Vasto, and we'll also focus on some speedier weapons like the Aphurus and things like that. Just because I believe those weapons are great for just about anybody. They're very easy to use, tend to be very good to use, good feeling to use. It's a weird thing in Warframe. When you're starting out, you're really not worried about how your weapons feel. You're just worried about how effective they are. But as the game kind of comes to its hilt, and you're kind of near the end of the game, or kind of near the end of the progression of the story, you come to points where it's more about how a weapon feels when you're using it rather than how good of a weapon it actually is. Because some weapons just feel fantastic to use and are just horrible weapons. But if it feels fantastic to use, you could potentially make it a better weapon by just upgrading it. Or something of that nature. Really need to deal with the Sanguine Extremist. He's going to be a real pain. And he's effectively making all the other enemies take much less damage. Come on, kill him. Alright, well, ground slam in here so we can get some fire rolling, because fire is pretty effective against the infested. And it should be noted that the corrupted enemies do not have a uniform damage type that they're weak to. They have the damage types that they're weak to same as they were originally. So the Corpus-like enemies have the same weakness as the Corpus do. And the infested-like enemies have the same weakness as the infested do. So plan accordingly. And all else fails, use corrosive damage or fire damage, because those tend to be very effective at killing most things. Cold damage is also pretty good. Being able to slow down your enemies so they cannot attack you as fast, because for some reason cold damage in Warframe affects gun speed as well. Yeah, I don't know how that works either. Maybe it creates like a localized field of freezing energy? I don't know. But regardless, cold damage does affect the enemy's attack shooting as well as their melee attacks. So cold is overall a very good element if you're just looking for a single element. See, look at all these different like architectures and how they're all aligned. I've always loved the look of these kind of areas because they're just very stylish. All the gold all over the place. It seems very expensive, I suppose you could say. Here's a kind of semi-secret area that you can explore. If you walk in this room the first time, you might think that there's just the containers on the sides, but there's actually an area up here which has a bunch of containers and sometimes has some good stuff in it. Not always, but sometimes. What did we get? We got some mods. Got some mods we already have. But by stepping on any plates, we've activated a bunch of lasers. Not very threatening, because you can just jump over them, but it's kind of an interesting thing, and if you're looking for caches, it might be worthwhile to take a look. Right now, we're not worried about any caches. We've got our resource that we needed from the Void, the one control module. I think we've actually gotten quite a few control modules, just from the enemies themselves. So we really don't have much to worry about there. All we really need to worry about now is just finishing the mission. I don't think I'll have enough time to deal with the Sergeant on Iliad in this episode, but I think I will deal with that next episode. This time around we'll just do Lek Grill on War, and we'll try and get him down. That way we can hopefully progress to the Phobos Junction, if I'm not getting those mixed up again. Oh, that's a heavy gunner. That sound of a Gorgon firing should always alert you that there's a heavy gunner in the area, and you should always be looking to stun or immobilize them, because heavy gunners just do ridiculous amounts of damage once they've revved up that Gorgon of theirs, which is a weapon you can get, of course. The Gorgon isn't a bad weapon, really. It's quite a good, like a ramp-up machine gun, but overall it's, in my eyes, not very good compared to some of the other weapons you can get, so I'm just not a big fan of it. I think there's a lot of other weapons that are much better in the category of automatic weapons. I mean, even our Boltor here is pretty good. If we can upgrade it enough, the Boltor tends to be one of the best, auto rifles in the game, so we'll probably hold onto it until kind of the end of the game. Just as like a good weapon for dealing damage very quickly. Ran out of ammo there, which was kind of unfortunate. Alright, good to go again. Got enough ammo again. I think we're doing good. Let's try and get some fire rolling on these guys, just so we can Got a little bit less damage coming towards us. Alright, well that was short-lived. Gonna have to pull out the pistol and just go at it. Gonna hopefully set all of these guys on fire. Fire, of course, is great because it does cause them, enemies, to sometimes do that animation where they flail their arms. And that does effectively stop them from shooting, which is pretty nice. Let's just get some more fire rolling. Everybody, since they're all grouped up like this. Oh, that is a very dangerous spot to be in with the heavy gunner shooting you like that. Having them just plink away at you while you're on the ground from being knocked down from their hit there is very annoying and can be very, very deadly, especially at higher levels. So you want to always try and avoid that ground knockdown that they do. And we want to deal with that guy. That little corrupted drone was giving us problems. He's healing everybody's shields. Oh, we're going to rush out of here. You know, I should probably just melee these enemies. I think my melee actually would probably be more effective than my pistols being. Yeah, heat sword is much more effective as an actual sword than just a ground pound attack. The only downside to melee attacking like this is you tend to take more damage, but I think Taxon's actually keeping our shields up just fine. So we're going to be okay. These guys, these corrupted crewmen though, they tend to have those shotguns, and those shotguns can very, very much so hurt in the later parts of the game. So having one of those shot in your face at point blank range is not the best. Lots of enemies here, all piled up, but I'm just not able to kill them very quickly. I'm getting an electric combo out there. Let's chop them up. Probably won't be coming back to the Void for some time, just because we really don't need to be here, aside from getting that control module. And maybe Argon crystals in the future. But there are better missions to farm Argon crystals on than this one here. And we will unlock those in the future. Though I suppose Exterminate's not a bad place to get Argon crystals. We just really don't have the damage output we need to have to be able to handle some of these enemies, like Corrupted Ancients and things like that, are just a nightmare for us. Though once we got our Boltar going, we're actually not too bad off. It's just when we start running out of ammo that becomes a real problem. Oh, and lasers. Lasers also tend to be a problem. Those lasers right now may not hurt very much, but later on they will hurt quite a lot.
Well done. Now get to extraction.
So avoiding them, or learning to avoid them, is probably your best bet. Alright, we've killed everybody we need to kill. Let's just progress. Get out of this place. Get out of this hellhole. Okay. And I think we are done. Fantastic. I wish we'd have found an Argon crystal, but we didn't manage to. They're a type of resource that's specific to the Void. You can't get it anywhere else. When you collect them, they decay over time, so if you don't use them right away, you will lose them. So, it was something I would have liked to have shown off, so you can pick one up this week, have it decayed by next week, and show that it's no longer in our inventory, but oh well, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so, now we've completed that. The only thing we need to get for our Rhino is some plastids. Let's see. I think I'll pick a mission and I'll farm up some plastids so we can have him being crafted for next time. What is a good mission for that? Spy, exterminate. Okay, when this episode ends, I will go to Roche and I'm just gonna run Roche a bunch of times to get a bunch of resources. For next time, I'll probably craft it this time around, craft the systems this time around, so next time we'll start the crafting of Rhino, or yeah, something like that. Effectively, I'll farm up the parts we need for Rhino on Roche. because you can, of course, get plastids here on Phobos. It's just not a very high chance of getting them. In the meantime, though, we're just going to finish up war. Alright. Let's deal with Lieutenant Lek Krill. I don't think Lek Krill's going to be a problem for us. We did go into this solo. But I don't think Lek Krill really does that much damage.
Find the VIP and take them down. Do not let the target escape.
So I think we're going to be okay just by going at him head on. I am going to save my
Proceed with caution.
ammo for my Boltor and just use my Lado until we get to him, though.
You're on the sensors now. You've been detected.
I would like to get these Morphics. I don't need them right now, but you never know in the future. Always good to pick up those canisters that are just resources.
Eliminating Krill is the only chance for our exposed colony.
Alright, so we have made it to Lek Krill by just pretty much ignoring everybody to get to him.
Krill is aware of your presence. Strike first.
So Lek Krill is an interesting boss, and he shows off a mechanic
Target
of,
acquired. Take them down.
I want to say, invulnerability. Effectively, the way Lek Krill works is there's some tubes on his back that you'll want to shoot or get hit. And once we see them busted, we will really be able to go at him. Let's deal with these guys real quick. We're not really at a phase where we can do a lot of damage to him. There we go. So we need to get the thing on his back there. Once that tube is popped off, or there we go. So you shoot the little thing on his back, this tube starts to pop off, and once he does this attack, he becomes not invulnerable anymore. Once he's not invulnerable, you can shoot him in the face. You do this, I think it's 3 or 4 times, and then you can actually fight him, because right now he is completely invincible to our damage. Oh, ow. I just got hit by some kind of frost attack from him. I think that's the same sort of attack that he does, that Frost does. Just need to pop that back panel while not getting shot in the back. Lek Krill's kind of alternates between a Gorgon and his hammer. His hammer is far less threatening, so if you can get in close, that's probably the best place to be. By like baiting his attacks by running by him. That's also how he gets into his vulnerable state, by, you know, when he's on the ground like that. So that's probably the best thing to do, but if he's got his Gorgon out and he's trying to hit you, the best thing to do would probably be to throw up a shield as Volt, or just trying to defend yourself. I think the hardest part of this fight really is just dealing with these guys in the background. Because Lek Krill himself actually isn't all that tough. It's the enemies over there that are shooting you in the back that kind of be a problem. Getting hit by Lek Krill's attacks, though, is problematic, as his attacks tend to do quite a good amount of damage. So you do want to avoid getting hit, and you don't want to miss the opportunities to do damage to him, like I almost did there. Baiting out that hammer by just running by him is a fantastic way to just avoid taking damage. Yep. Do beware that his Gorgon hits probably a lot harder than most of the heavy gunner's Gorgons, so just be aware of that fact. Okay, so now that we've knocked him out of his thing and we've gotten him out of his invulnerability multiple times, he now switches to fire mode rather than frost, and he's vulnerable to attack. So you pretty much just lay into him. Though our damage isn't very high, which is unfortunate. Even with our Boltor, we're still not doing a whole lot of damage against him. We will power him down eventually, though. As you can imagine, with a weapon that does a lot more damage than any of the ones that we've got, such as something like the Vectis or a shotgun of any sort, this fight becomes far easier. In this stage right here, A lot of the times you'll be able to, in later games, just one-shot him or hit him once and he'll die. Alright. So, that was a move I don't think I've ever seen before, because I've never gotten to this point where we actually had to fight him. I guess he just goes invulnerable for a quick second while he's in this fire mode. I'd really love some bolter ammo, but I don't think I'm going to get it from these guys. I got a little bit. He is just right above us here. I don't think I've ever actually seen him walk off of that platform, this platform here that I'm standing on. I know he can, but he's kind of in a precarious spot right now. Let's load into him. I have to go back to the Lado. We're going to run out of ammo eventually. I think we may actually run out of ammo before we manage to kill him here. Let's start meleeing him. We'll get a heat proc going on him, if we're able to. I think he might be immune to it. Nope. He's not immune to heat procs. Our damage of our heat sword is actually pretty good compared to our Lado. Our Lado's not very good. We're able to get consistent heat procs on him by just dodging those, slashes of his. Alright, so we got our Lacryl sigil, and we got a mod from him. Oh, I almost forgot we have to unlock the door.
Assassination contract complete. Great work, Tenno.
So the panel to unlock the door is just right above us here. If I can jump. There we go. There it is. And that's how you defeat Lacryl. Now, if I had a weapon that could do any sort of damage whatsoever,
Move on.
it would have been far easier to take him out in that last phase there. The hardest part of Lacryl is that first phase where he's invulnerable most of the time. Just understanding that you gotta hit that little button on his back to make him do the ground pound, which makes him vulnerable, is all you really need to know, though. And that is Lacryl defeated, and that will pretty much end our episode for this time around. So next time we'll be able to explore the clan dojo, and we'll also probably finish up Iliad, getting to Iliad so we can deal with the sergeant and unlocking the Phobos junction, all that fun stuff. So there'll be a lot of stuff we can do. If you wanted to get Excalibur, by the way, one of the starter Warframes that you could have chosen, you can get his parts from Lacryl here on
Check your inbox, operator.
Mars.
Maybe orders will get a message someday.
Oh, fantastic. The Stalker's coming after us again, but that will be for next time. Until then, goodbye.